So when I worked for IBM, I was an East Coast employee for the California firm working in Arizona. Here's the neat part about that. I got paid California money to live in Arizona to do a East Coast job.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right? Heyday! So, the advantage to that was I had a really cool job and I was the only one around, so I kind of managed myself and my team remotely. Kind of like you would with, you know, videos or live chats and things like that. And I used to have to get up at like 5 a.m., 6, 7, 8 back east. So I had a shirt and I would change the tie out and I would come in my shorts and I would put a dress shirt on and I'd be sitting in front of the, yeah, it says, we're going to do this and go over the, and then I would get up to leave. Well, one time I was a little short, hit the button and it didn't log me out and everybody could see I was in my shorts and they're like, I got a call within minutes. What do you need?
Right,
so are you ready to go? We're ready to go?
Yes, thank you everybody for coming tonight. It's Escrow night.
She couldn't make it, she texted me.
So, have you met everybody yet?
I indirectly have introduced myself, so I'll kind of start out. I'm Tony Scardina with Security Title. I'm here representing both Trish, Susan, and Shay out of the Surprise branch. I have had the pleasure of working with them for about 15 plus years since I've been with security. 21 total in the industry now. So, that said, we're excited to be here. Trish is covering for Susan. I'm covering for Trish. So you can call me Trish for that.
But you're by no means the third string, by any stretch of the imagination.
We all bring our own skills to the table. Mine is technology. I come from a technology background. I worked for IBM for 9 years.
Perfect.
There you go.
All right, and just to fill you in, I'm Josh. I'm the DB here at Victor. And the Agent 101 classes, it's just a 9-week series that we continuously put on. And every week we cover a kind of what I would classify a major portion of our business that especially any new agent, but pretty much every agent needs to know. And obviously the escrow process is huge. And instead of having an ignorant agent perspective of what we have to do, it's best to hear it from
ignorant
experts.
marketers. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. All right, so.
Who are you with, Teresa?
I'm with Century 21, but you see, I'm a full-time teacher, so I do this on a part-time basis. But this is summer, so
Can I tell you something? I have a really good friend who recently was a teacher. As a matter of fact, he's my son's math tutor. He wrote the curriculum that most of the kids are using in the area where we live. And recently was able to quit that job to become a full-time in less than 6 months. This guy is fabulous. So I can't imagine the level of creativity. You have my full resource as well.
Yes.
And I'll hand out a card, that way everybody has my information as well. Okay, so before I jump into all this, do you want a little information on escrow? I mean,
just every little bit that helps. You know, coming from a newer agent, you know, mom, and even as agents, we hear what we're supposed to do. We know we're supposed to open escrow within a certain amount of time. Does an agent know what the literal term like escrow? What are we actually opening? You know,
okay, so the definition of escrow, we're a neutral, disinterested third party. Does that make sense? That's the most important part. So we're not supposed to show bias in any way, shape, or form. But unfortunately, in this industry, as the marketer, I'll say this. Yeah, it's all about relationships. At the end of the day, if you like me and I like you and there's something going on, we're going to make sure that you're taken care of. Sorry, that's the way it works. And that's why everybody fights so hard to have control over where the escrow goes. And a lot of people will tell you a lot of things. They'll say, well, it's the buyer's choice. Well, these things are important. The reality of it is, and I can tell you this point blank, it's the stronger agent that wins the negotiation every time. And if you gave that up, what else did you give up along the way? So, if it's important, you always want to make sure you can choose, even if you're not choosing me, but you're loyal to another brand. Absolutely, you want to show that loyalty not for them, but more for your client. That way, God forbid there is a problem, you have somebody to reach out to that's on your team. Make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So the disinterested third party is probably the most important part of what we do. Second would be, when, like what Josh said, to open escrow. Well, when you get an accepted contract, a lot of companies out there right now are charging for them to send their courier to come to your house or your client's house to pick up the check. We don't do that. We'll send a runner out to you, wherever your client is, and get that check. If they're out of state, we're going to send them a prepaid FedEx and get that check. We're going to wire transfer that money. We're going to do whatever it takes to make sure you guys are, again, taken care of. And those are what I call old school escrow. 21 years ago when I got in the business, that was the standard. Now they're charging. Oh, we're going to send a courier. We'll charge you for that. That's $25. No problem. Put that on your bill. What? Yeah, we're charging for that, you know, because we don't want to lose money.
Half the time they don't even necessarily tell you they're charging you, it just kind of shows up
You,
on your statement.
yeah, it's kind of
And that's the truth. We don't do that. We may lose money in comparison to others, but the neat part about my brand is this, and I'll tell you, when you're working with a title company, there are small ones, and think about maybe your local insurance broker, Tom's Insurance. Well, Tom's Insurance doesn't make insurance, he sells someone else's. And when you go to a smaller brand, they don't sell title, they sell title insurance, but they don't make title insurance. We make the title insurance. So there's no way you're going to buy it any cheaper from someone else that I would sell it to that would resell it to you. Make sense?
Yeah, can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
Is it actually the parent company, so they're all the same insurance?
Okay, so let's talk about that. Yeah. So I work for Fidelity National Financial. That is my parent company, F&F. The stock ticker is F&F. Fidelity National Financial owns Fidelity Title, Chicago Title, Land America Title, Lawyers Title, Capital Title, Alamo Title, Chicago Title, Grand Canyon Title, and Security Title, just to name a few. When Fidelity acquires a brand, we never go out and change the brand name. It gives the appearance of more choice to the consumer. At the end of the day, there was a point where we got shut down. They said, you're not buying any more title companies, you're done. So we went out and started buying Village Inns and all kinds of other things, which is another great stock that's doing quite well for us. So just a little bit of information, when you say, well, I'm not doing business with you, you probably are doing business with me. Yeah, unless you're buying First American, what we always jokingly call Last American Title, if you're using that product, that's the only one we don't own. And if you did want that, we could actually write that policy for you as well. At the end of the day, our job as escrow people is to make sure we insure your client's house for the highest, best possible policy. Not the lowest price one, the best policy. Do you see the trick? Someone else might sell a lesser insurance, lesser coverage, and you would assume that, oh, well, I'm covered, I have title insurance. That's not the case. Some products, some homes don't qualify for the best one. They might have to go a tier down or two.
What would cause a home not to qualify?
What'd you just show me tonight?
What did I show you?
The fire.
Oh, yeah.
So, a high claims area, you know how this works, it's insurance.
Okay.
What would make you harder to insure than my 16-year-old kid, you know?
Would it have anything to do as far, I mean, like, okay, so the literal house, so if it has insurance claims, will it
Like
would
the
obviously
Clue?
affect
There
it?
you go. I was going to say, everybody knows what the Clue report is, right? Why do they pull that?
because they want to see what the history is.
You'd think it was for the buyers, but it's also for the
Yeah.
title
It's
people.
everybody gets a taste of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
It's not something, again, not something you want to talk about. And an escrow officer probably would never have this conversation with you. But these are the things, being a marketing person, that I get to see and
Yeah.
share that maybe is a different twist.
So does that affect like things like California earthquakes or Florida floods, for example? Those
Correct.
things affect.
Yeah.
So what would their title policy be as opposed to like, because our premium one is what, like $1,200? No, I'm
See,
thinking.
again, that depends on what brand
Yeah,
and where it's located.
I'm coming from the commercial side at the moment, so forgive me.
Right? And we do commercial as well.
Yeah,
But let's take
yeah.
properties,
So it's
say
like what,
like up there,
$700
like
or
Canyon
so
City.
for typical residential, correct?
Sure, like a $200,000 house or something could be $700 or $800.
Yeah.
And you might get a lesser policy for less money. You might get a better policy with a different brand that we offer. So there's Fidelity, their security union. I mean, the list goes on and on of the title, I should say not title, they call it, let me get the correct term.
Because they're not all clouds and stuff.
No, there's a title plant, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
So, and when we buy a company, we typically buy it for, like, in this case, we just bought Stewart Title for $1.5 billion. Why? Because they have a huge presence back east, and now we have that title plant there. So the more title plants you own, again, if you're a small...
Safety numbers.
Yeah, if you're a small company and you want to sell title insurance, you could be, I don't know, XYZ American Title or whatever. Well, you got to buy it from me. There's no way we're going to sell it cheaper than we would to you. But if it was 50% off, how many people have seen that in the MLS? 50% off. 50% off of what?
This your actual.
Yeah.
Not the
By the
policy.
time you add the total up, it's actually more
Yeah.
than it would have been if you would have just bought it for me. But
you guys-
people don't ask. Hey, can you give me a comparison? Can you tell me your fees and you tell me your fees? Holy smokes.
Realistically, title fees are not huge. What you guys actually make for the company, not like because the policy is the policy, all your
Right.
different things are your things.
Mhm.
Your actual fee itself is not exorbitant.
No.
Oh.
And if you think about, and a lot of people don't think we pay out a lot, and if you were a commercial guy, that is where you take the biggest beating in my industry is commercial. The largest payouts come from a commercial. Not that we don't pay out a lot in residential, but the big money.
What's the
the
most
real-
common
real big.
residential here in Arizona payout? Like, what do you guys typically?
It depends, like it could be anything from maybe a property line or something to that effect. It could be all the way up to a power line. Okay, here's an example. You ever seen those roads under the big power lines? Did you know that we actually title insured that whole strip of land from one side of Arizona as it goes through to the other side?
Wow.
So, what they call a horizontal regime, all the way up, all the way out, and all the way across. So, the square, if you were to put
Yeah.
that,
Huh.
yeah.
So
And that's why you never see anything close to those, but sometimes builders like to mess around in there, and they'll, oops, get into that guy's spot, and then we gotta figure it out. If we missed it, we pay.
ooh, okay,
Sometimes you might have to buy a house.
In subdivisions, you know.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, people don't ever see the bad part of my industry. They go, you guys are making money. Well, we get hurt just like everybody else.
yeah,
You guys have E&O, that's,
yeah. Well, that's where I think a lot of agents, and that would be if you can just touch on it. And I have a few saved for just these about reading title reports.
oh yeah.
And so if you have an example of one you could show to like, because, forgive me, I just totally brain farted. What are the two main sections that we realtors
Oh, the
Absolute-
A and B?
absolutely want to, yeah,
Uh-huh.
want to make sure, yeah. So if you could definitely cover that.
I didn't
little
bring
bit.
a copy of that because we were so quick today,
Yeah,
and I apologize. But I can tell you this, if you like, I can send you one maybe that has been gone over, and we can put some notes and everything, and everybody can follow that later. I'd be more than happy to send that in after.
okay.
Okay.
Because you have I totally just, sorry, my
It's
brain
like
shut
part
off.
A,
It's,
part B.
Uh-huh.
yeah, which
I can
is,
tell you this, here's the biggest trick. Knowing what you're about to say, and I agree, here's the best way to describe it. If you have a relationship, or if you're in the middle of a deal, an escrow, with a company that you're not familiar with, you want to call them and say, hey, can you please point out to me anything in the title report that I need to know? Don't assume I know and I'm reading it. Point out the issues to me.
So commitment for
is it
titles.
schedule B,
B.
schedule C?
Uh-huh.
So that's what they were, yeah,
Yep.
okay. So,
Not everybody knows how to read it. Even as they're reading it, they're like, I don't know what that means.
yeah, because there are all the conditions that have to be met for that to close. And
Correct.
you pray that there's nothing serious, and usually there's not. That's why you gotta love more often than not the cookie cutter homes, you know?
But this is why
But-
too, if you have the right title company working for you, they're kind of doing their homework in the back to make sure like there's no liens, that there's
Well,
no.
like for example, your home in Black Canyon City that you closed a few months ago. That would be a great example that I'd have a question on because that would have scared me. The guy the owner built this home over the course of 20 years.
Oh, yeah, my steel house.
Permitted, not permitted, somewhat permitted.
Yeah,
Somewhat.
kind of, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my properties in Wilcox.
You know, in Black Canyon City, the property lines were made by, I mean this with sincere, like, love, drunk people 120 years ago that make no sense. And
Correct.
there's no actual boundary lines anywhere. You know, I think somebody just randomly put a fence and said, this is it, you know? And so you have that mixed with people building homes for 20 some odd years. How does that...
We gotta clean all that up before we close. It's not up to you to clean up, it's up to us. And guess what? If we're wrong, we pay.
That's so interesting. Like, because I never put, I always put it on the owner, but I never put it on title that you guys are the ones conveying that
If you
whatever
sold it
was.
to me, whoever title company we used is on the hook for whatever it is they said. This boundary,
And
this,
see, that's interesting because like with this home, because it had never been on the market, when I was creating the MLS listing, it was interesting trying to find, you know, like how many square feet is this house, you know, and how big is the lot, and that kind of stuff, you know.
and we have, and by the way, we also have a great ownership department. My ownership department is your friend.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, and don't feel like you have to reach out to the escrow officers, you can, but you can always reach out to me directly as well. I'm super tight with Lydia and all the gals that work down there. They are fabulous. We have an incredible group, and we'll even do what we call a white report. Her last name, Lydia White, so we call it a white report, and we'll pull that at no charge to you. It's as close as you're ever going to come to an actual title policy without paying the money. And if we still see that there's something we can't clear up, then we're going to say, hey, we need to open this in advance and start clearing these things now before we get to a contract. So a lot of people you'll see in the MLS, title open with security title, Trish, escrow number, 85 dash whatever. Well, what that means, if it's done right and there's an escrow number, that means we're already working on that file. We have pulled title, we're checking to make sure there's no issues. That way when your contract comes through, if there was a problem, we've already got it cleaned up.
So you're saying the agents aren't just trying to get it, you guys have legitimately done work?
Oh yeah, when you see an escrow number, but when you don't see an escrow number, it's crap.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a ploy to maneuver the deal to a different title company.
Yeah, it was one of those things that really became popular with short sales because it was necessary and it never went away, that type of thing.
Well, here's the advantage to that. Not many title companies will pay the $500 to open title on your deal that we may or may not get. And that's the difference. That's how you can tell the commitment level to the people you're working with. We'll give you an escrow number every time, even if we don't get the deal. Why? Customer service. We can afford to. We're the biggest. There is nobody bigger than us. And to me, it's not always a bigger is better, but in this case, it really works to your advantage if you work it right. But if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Yeah.
What's the old saying? If you don't ASK, you don't GET.
So can I ask you something, whenever there's any discrepancies between maybe like the square footage or anything, does the escrow officer explain that to the buyer, when they do the final closing? Because I have been to some of those closings, and they just go so quick, 45 minutes, and sometimes have to be translating. So I haven't seen anything like that, and I know that there have been a few, but nothing has been explained to the the
So
buyer.
are you speaking just on a bilingual or just everything in general?
In general.
Okay, so on the bilingual things, if there's somebody who the primary language is Spanish or Russian or whatever, we're going to make sure that that's represented, because if you close it incorrectly, then we could have an issue there, and so could you.
Because the first time that I did translate, it's like I didn't know anything about escrow. That was one of my few closings. It's like I didn't know how to translate it.
Right.
So I thought that I was selling my client short because I didn't know how to explain.
Typically, we bring somebody in, unless you're well versed in our industry, we bring somebody in who knows the documents, knows how to translate and explain to the client exactly what's going to happen. So there is no disservice to you, and the liability's on us, not you.
Oh, okay.
Some of the things as far as timelines. So when we open escrow, okay, immediately you guys, at that moment, you obviously make your deposit and provide the earnest money receipt. So technically it's upon the earnest money receipt that, once you deposit, that escrow's officially open. Right, just because you have the executed contract, it's not official until the earnest money has been deposited and that receipt is sent out. That is the official opening of escrow.
As
correct?
the broker, you tell me, what do you consider?
Well, I want to make sure that is, yes, it's not official until it's official.
To the best of my knowledge, we're not what makes it official. You guys are what make it official. In
Okay.
other words, if you and I were both parties of the deal and both of our clients have signed, then we have a binding contract at that point.
Yes.
That's where we would either go to mediation or legal,
Okay.
if need be, with or without title at that point.
Okay.
Obviously, where title comes in is if you gave $2,000 or $500.
Because typically,
Who gets the money?
Because
right?
well, it's when the buyer officially puts the collateral up. That's when it's officially there. You know, because the house is always automatically there. You know, we put our house up. There it is. You know, so okay. So let's say, and this is where ultimately I'm kind of getting to timelines and closing dates, right? So let's say you open escrow right off the bat. Okay. Let's say they take the 48 hours to open to get the earnest money. So you guys don't officially jump until then, right? Until you get the money.
Right.
Correct.
Even though we
From
have
our point-
signed.
Well, that's the thing. You can sign the contract right away, but you
Right.
guys won't continue.
Right. Until we got the money, we can't do anything.
Okay.
We can't do anything, but you still have a binding contract, and if your client, here's what happens a lot. The client will show up or not show up with the money and say, we've changed our mind. Good luck, you're going to court, you're getting sued.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with us.
Yeah. Yeah. The contract's the contract. You enforce the contract, and it has the timelines and everything. But so let's say, if it's a 10-day closing for a cash deal, okay, and so they take the 2 days to open escrow and officially get the earnest money. So you guys jump into
Inspection or no inspection?
7-day inspection.
Okay.
Okay. So how, like, what is that like in your world at that moment? Like you have your 8 days, and let's say there's an HOA involved, full gamut, right?
If there's an HOA, that'll be the one thing that holds the deal up.
Yeah.
If there's no HOA, I can close that deal in 24 hours. And I've done it many times.
Yeah.
So if you want to go crazy, I got crazy. Bring it.
So the delay of HOA is like how long?
They have up to 10 days.
Now you can pay rush fees, and it depends on what part of town you're in, and we've had some
Too
that
many
come in a
factors.
day or two, and some that wait till the very last freaking minute, and you want to go choke them because they were sitting around drinking coffee and they were too busy to send it over. So it all depends on who that HOA is. Most of them are pretty good, believe it or not. And some of them have made up so many junk fees that they make title insurance companies look like babies. There's 6 different fees on some of these things. I'm like, really? Is that even a fee? But we gotta pay it.
Yeah.
And we can't, none of us can move forward without their blessing.
Silly. Yeah. Like, in your opinion, are you and just this could be personal or title affiliated, your actual mom and pop traditional HOAs, or like, city management or whatever, like, in your world, who do you prefer? Or none?
Bob, to be deadly honest with you, some of the mom and pops are just like the big companies. It just depends on who the person is. I have a buddy who runs an HOA, and it's him and his wife, and I think it's like a couple of hundred people in there, and he's like this. But he works with people, and I work with people that are slow. It's who the person is, unfortunately. I can't say that any one brand or any one person's any better. It's a crapshoot. You're flipping a coin each time.
Yeah.
But eventually we get it done. So safe to say, if there's an HOA, 10 days, or on or before, you know how that works, on or before X date.
Yeah.
No HOA, I got you, brother.
So
24 hours, you're done and done.
does it really affect you guys when people wait, for example, because you guys are directly correlated, and this is where it's the domino effect. So let's say somebody takes forever to take care of their inspections, and then they don't want to have their appraisal until their inspections are good, and then they finally get it, and then you finally get the word, we're going! You know, how does that affect you guys, you know, on that level?
What my people do is they work the file regardless of that, where others will go, well, I'll just put this over here and I'll wait. Who doesn't have kids here? Okay, what happens when the kids wait?
Are we there yet?
You've got a mess. You've got a mess to clean up. So what we do is we err on the side of caution. We just assume everything's going smooth and we just treat it like every file gets treated the same. Again, it's like the earnest money pickup and things like that, where it's traditional old school where others don't do that. And that's why being affiliated or using someone that you know, like, and trust is so important.
Yeah. And just the next kind of segue too, because just helping all the agents. To make an escrow officer's life happy makes all the difference in the world. And we are notorious for giving them incomplete contracts and all this kind of stuff, right? And so, for example, like on the contract, what is the one thing that you can almost predict on everyone's going to be missing?
Initials.
Well, initials and agent information.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. These forms auto-populate, guys. How do you not know where you work and your name and your phone number?
That's why we created our cover sheet that has everybody's information.
Amen.
So that whether you're the escrow, whether you're the lender, whether you're the buyer, the seller, we've got it all there.
Create a templated email that you
I had a
just
FISBO
use.
that came in the other day from an agent friend. She sold a FISBO. And she had everything in there. They always copy me. I love it. Sometimes they even put me as the escrow officer, which is even cooler. I'm like, I am completely useless. You don't want me as your escrow officer. Negative. Yes, Susan will be your escrow officer going forward. Yes, you definitely want me your marketing, but you don't want me to do your escrow. But yeah, I can definitely cause some trouble. If you need some trouble caused, yeah, send it to me.
So, when you guys order the title report, where does that actually come from?
Our title plan. See, that's what's neat about our company, like I was telling you earlier. If you worked for, I hate to use names, but let's just say a brand that I don't own. We'll call it XYZ Title. They would have to go out and broker, or just like a small insurance company would have to go and get that from somebody else. It's quick and painless to them, but they don't own the title plan. We do. So if there's a prioritization issue, who's going to go first? Again, you would probably never see that on your end, because most escrows are 45 days, and things will flow through, and everybody has timelines, and we all, and as we're selling our product to other title companies, we try and make it as seamless as we can for them, but for the most part, your own team has to come first.
So, ignorant question.
Yeah.
Where do they get their information from to begin with? Like, where do they get these reports? Do they literally like report from like an insurance company, and they pull some from like tax? Like, how do they get this info?
All of that and I've been through a title plant. Oh my God, many years ago, we had a title plant that I took a tour of. Long story short, if you could picture, well, it's all computerized now, but back in the day, there were cabinets. Files upon files upon files, and microfiche and all the rest of that stuff.
Okay.
It's all been digitally converted now to the computer, so the person never gets up. But it goes back as far as we can based on where the property is, and any past closing, anything that's been done, and they try and compile all that information. That way we don't lose money to a claim. But God forbid if it does happen, or if we miss something, or something went awry, we pay.
So if somebody has like an appraisal done, does that somehow work its way to your records somewhere along the lines?
So are you familiar with the company called Black Knight? Have you ever watched Fox or CNN? And you'll see at the end of a real estate, somebody say the market's hot. Data provided by Black Knight Financial Services. We own Black
It's on
Knight.
your handout the other day.
Yeah, we own Black Knight.
Okay.
So we own the data.
Okay.
So the data that we're giving, we already own.
So that's a company.
Yeah, we sell to other companies that data. We sell it to anybody, mostly anybody who would have a use for it. Like a Fox or a CNN or anybody who would need data to talk about whatever it is they want to have knowledge about and discuss. You can buy it.
Yeah.
We sell it. Black Knight Financial sells it. And that stock is doing fabulously too.
Okay.
You guys are wizards of top.
Yeah, our company is fabulous. We are managed by some of the top brains. And they're always looking for ways to, number one, make our job, your job, easy. To make sure you have access to data. Like I was telling you the other day, we have data now that 21 years ago I could never have thought to get. A name, a home phone, a cell phone, and an email address of people that live in a property that I could use to market to? Never.
Yeah.
I had guys that would put bodies in the desert to get data like that. Now I can just hand it up to you freely at no cost.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
All right. Well, we're gonna show some pictures.
You all ready for? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes, it looks good.
Okay. So this app, if you'd like to get it, and it runs in every environment. There isn't a piece of software that runs a screen on it. I don't care what it is, Apple, Windows, or whatever. You can run this product on it. It runs in every environment. No. So if you have a phone, if you have a whatever the device, doesn't matter. It'll run there. And let's back up a little bit. How to get it? You can, if you have a web-enabled device like your laptop or your cell phone or your iPad or your whatever it is, you can go to securityagentpro.com, and as soon as you do, it'll say, oh, you're on a PC or you're on a Mac or you're on a whatever, and it'll say, you need this software right here, and it'll take you right to it. If you're on a mobile device, it'll take you right to the Play Store and it'll tell you how to download it, and just click there and it'll download it and install it right on your phone. That's how easy it is. It's the smartest software out there. Our competitor, this is version technically 4.0, but they're calling it 1.0. Our original 1.0, our competitor said, we'll pay you any amount of money for just the version 1.0, just so we can have a tool like this in the marketplace. That's how bad we're hurting their business. It's amazing. So if you want a tool that's fast and knows more than I could ever calculate, this is it. I'm going to show you how that works. Everybody ready? Okay, when you first log in, this is the screen you're going to see. And down at the bottom you have buyer, seller, the calculator, and then premium. Premium is my company trying to sell you for $12 a year the full version of this, because it also does marketing as well. So it'll post to social medias for you, different scenarios. If you had people that maybe wanted to buy a $200,000 house, a $300,000 house, you could run different scenarios and post them in your social media to kind of troll for clients, if you will. We'll get into that later, but first I'm going to show you the product itself. So right now in the upper left-hand corner, conventional loan, there's VA, FHA, all cash, which nobody likes that, right? USDA, everything here, including owner finance. And I will say the owner finance one's a little tough, but we're going to kind of go through it quickly as possible. That way everybody can get a look. So if you're out in the field and you're showing me a house and I say, I love it, I'll take it, what's the next words out of my mouth?
How much is it going to cost a month?
That's right. And what are you going to do then? Panic, right?
Exactly.
Maybe call an escrow officer, call a TV, pray.
Officer.
Right, yeah, and if you call the LO on a Saturday, what are you going to get?
Nothing.
Voicemail. I love them. I got lots of friends that are LO. But let's be honest, I know they're not drinking beer playing golf. And I'm answering my phone working. So let's say that $250,000 house is a conventional at 10% down. The interest rate's real. It pulls a lot of this data off the internet to auto-populate this, and those are all real numbers for right now. Miscellaneous, anytime you see a cog, that little wheel out there on the far right, and you click it, you can add things like, in this case, add to closing costs or subtract. Maybe you're going to buy me a home warranty. Maybe I'm going to buy you the home warranty. Who knows? If so, we can put it in there, name it, and it'll come right in to our feed. Taxes, I will say this. If you click on taxes, see this?
Yours is way different.
Right, you know why?
Why?
Because it's an Apple.
You're fired.
Yes. And this is why I run it on this. It's great on my phone, because I'm bilingual, but Actually, I speak 4 machine languages, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Okay.
Which ones?
Besides Apple.
Unix,
Oh,
Linux,
yeah,
Apple, and Windows.
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for us, pathetic Google Droid people.
Yeah, me too.
If I want to have like Avondale added, for example,
Yes.
what's the easiest way to do that?
Okay, so,
Or am I getting ahead? Sorry.
no, that's okay. If it's not there, a lot of times we can add it, but on your Android, we have to delete one to add a new one. What I would tell you to do is find out what that Avondale one is, what the tax rate is, and,
Let's go with whatever's similar.
yeah.
Okay. let's get
Or
what we're doing.
default to 1%. Always better to give your client a higher bid and give them a little bit of a discount on the back end, because it's really not that much. So I'm just going to leave this at 1% just to show you how it works. HOA, I don't know, what's HOA, $100?
Depends on where you're at, but yeah.
A month. Yes.
148.
148, I like the way you think. And closing date, we're going to pick a date. 30 days from now, July 11th.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July, new homeowner. Now go move in the heat, I'm going to go in the air conditioner.
Yeah.
And we're going to hit the compute button. And you're going to see that their payment is $14.74. And do you know what that
And
includes?
I love, look at that, P&I insurance taxes, yeah.
So the PI payment is what the lender goes, oh, you're at $10.70.89. Well, yes and no. Let's add all the other fees in there too, shall we? Insurance, $81, the tax is $208. Private mortgage insurance is PMI, and if they put more down, that could go away, and you talk to your lender about that.
Mine showed up at 4.125% still. That's interesting.
The interest rate?
Yeah.
Yeah, might need an
I thought
update.
it was under 3, yeah, at least.
Yeah, 3.9. I'm doing a refi right now, 3.875.
Yeah, it should be in the threes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was wondering why my numbers were off.
and I didn't even buy the rate down.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice, yeah.
My guy, he was buying a 16-unit apartment complex.
Mhm.
His is like ridiculously low too. And even Ryan, who's been lender forever, he's like, that's the lowest rate I've seen on a commercial
commercial?
property. Yeah, in like 10 years.
Call me when it closes. I'd like his name when it closes.
Yeah.
If he's for
Absolutely.
real, I could get him a ton more business.
Oh, my commercial guy's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's got that kind of rate. I got lots of people that would like to use it. Okay, so everybody see that that's pretty self-explanatory?
Yep.
Okay, so does everybody know what an accelerometer is? It's a technical term for a little device that's, everybody has one in their phones. So it's when you tip the phone sideways, the screen goes sideways. Right. So watch this. If we shake this thing here, you can do that on your phone. So when people say, well, what if we offer $260, what's my price?
Okay.
It's pretty competitive out there, right? So if it's listed at $250, they might want to offer $260 if there's multiple. Or you might want to throw an escalator clause in there, right? That being said, you can prepare them for that payment up front. If we do go to $260, that's what your payment's going to be. You still comfortable with that? Okay, then our max bid is $260, no more than $270 at $15.92 a month. Are we good? Okay, great, let's write it up. You're kind of preparing the client for what's real in advance.
Yep, absolutely. Nice, nice, nice.
Now here's the neat part, and you can do this on the Android as well. Upper right hand corner, everybody see the little envelope with the arrow up sign? I can send them this full report, I can text a snapshot of it, or I can save this estimate to my device. Here's what's great. If I save it, and you call me later and say, can you send me the one on 123 Elm Street that we showed? I think we're going to offer that, but we want to look at the price again. You can pull this up, send it back to them again like that. You can save all those quotes that you make. Let's say you showed 3 properties. Each time you show a property, you could be doing this and emailing it to their house. So when they get home, let's say God forbid they didn't decide, but they're going to go home and decide. You can say, great. By the way, I gave you 3 quotes and I took a couple of pictures of each property, and you can put that in here too. I'll show you that. And maybe one had a man cave, maybe one had a really pretty kitchen that mom liked, maybe one had a pool that the kids really enjoyed. So you can put that picture in there so they can remember which house it is. Because they probably won't remember the address, but they'll remember what? That was the one,
Yeah.
the thing that hooked you. So you can put that in here as well and kind of grab their attention. And not to mention, it gives you a reason to call your client back. Because at the end of the day, the more times we can touch each other during the transaction,
How they remember.
yes, yeah, the more apt they are to use you. So it's just another way to follow up. Hey, by the way, a couple hours later, did you guys make a decision? It's a great follow-up tool. Okay?
When you're gonna probably talk about it, but when you actually email it, I've had too many people. I wish it was a little prettier up front and it made it a point, because the PDF is beautiful, but the little generic email, it gives them the information, and that's what they rely on. So it's like, did you check the attachment? And it's like, no. It's like that had all the good stuff in it.
Yeah, that one's got my picture in it, and it's pretty, and you can choose 5 or 6 different layouts in there. Everything from the engineer one to, I call it the engineer one. It looks like, you know, numbers and, yeah.
But I wish that they actually didn't give away all the information in the email, so they had to open the attachment.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah, they don't open it enough.
And here's the neat part about that. If you have a feedback like that, you can reach out to them and say, hey, I'd really like to see this. And they'll make that change. If they think it's valid, and a lot of people give us changes all day, that's why you're always seeing new revs come out.
Yeah.
Because people like you guys are out in the field going, I wish I had this, I wish I had this. That's how we got to this.
Yeah. Because they look at it and it's just like, oh, that's my payment. Okay, that'll work or not. And, you know, they very rarely move forward. And it's like, do you understand all the closing costs and everything else and the comparisons? It has everything.
So let's talk about the comparison. See the upper left-hand corner? Smart Compare. If you did a comparison conventional against maybe, how about FHA?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. See, that one's huge when it comes to the permanent insurance of the FHA and not. A lot of people don't realize it.
Yeah, see the price difference? So now that conventional does a 3.5% or a 3%, why would you not go conventional? Make sense?
Well-
A lot of people don't realize that.
True, but probably what most people fuss with is they don't have the 10% down.
Right.
And that's probably.
So
Well,
you
a
can
lot
go
of them don't even know about the
conventional,
3%. He's
3%
talking-
conventional right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
I
they
see,
purposely
yeah.
went out of their way to compete with FHA.
Yep.
Yep.
Ah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's fabulous.
Okay.
And that's the
Yeah.
reason why I show you that.
Gotcha.
Yep. You
Okay.
can go out here and you can say, hey, I want to, go back here. Hello. There you go. You can go back out here and you can make that change from 10% to 3%. Oops, I'm not 93. That's a
You're
great
just
deal.
less.
Yes, I'm that too. So now you can do a true comparison.
Okay. Wow, look at that. That's interesting.
Oops, I gotta go FHA.
FHA,
There
yeah.
we go. Bingo. Now what's the difference?
Oh,
Yeah.
only like $48.
Saving
And that's in your rate.
$48 a month adds up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If everything was the same,
Okay.
so you're actually losing money going FHA, not going conventional. But you didn't know that until you saw it, right? Everybody would assume FHA is always going to be cheaper, but by the time you add all those other fees, not true.
Huh.
And if, let's say, you wanted to go, a lot of people are doing 15 and 20-year loans. There's your 20-year loan.
Never actually. Okay. And we can do the same thing on our phone.
Yes, sir.
I use the app in front of people so often, but I've never used that particular screen.
It's pretty awesome. There's
Yeah.
so many things in here now, I could sit here all night and show you this. It's scary. What I tell people is this, go in and play with it, you're not gonna break it. There's nothing you can do to ruin your phone.
So would it be better to go ahead and take the old one off and just go ahead and download the new
You should
one?
only be using that one because of the fees.
Okay.
The other one's not pulling fees in anymore. So
Okay.
your fees are gonna be
All
wrong.
right.
So let's talk about fees too while we're here. As you can see, at 250,000, 3% down at 3.99, 30 years. All the fees are right there. Here's your closing costs. A lot of people want to know what the total closing cost is and how we calculate that.
Nice.
It's all based on the closing date. So if you give me an accurate closing date, I will give you a down to the penny dollar deal.
Is there any
But
way?
go ahead,
No,
Fred. Well, I was just gonna say, I still have to say that give or take, but it looks like the close estimate is,
it still rounds high, which is my, as long
Right,
as.
yeah, and we do that on purpose, just so you know.
As long as that, yeah. Is there any valid way, because the fees are, these are a lot of times proportional to the cost of the home, right? When we're doing commercial, it's not, it's just separate. So is there any valid way or general rule you can give me when I'm trying to calculate costs for like commercial property?
I can put you in touch with the Palm Agent guys, the developers, and they'll tell you if there's a trick on the back end what to do.
Okay.
And there's no cost or no charge, it's just courtesy. I'll give you the number and you can call them up.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and if there's a setting or something they can update for you, they will.
Yeah.
These guys are fabulous. They want you to use us. They want you to use their product.
This app is, yes, it's the app.
It's the coolest thing we've ever bought.
Very-
Questions so far?
No, that's,
Makes me wanna find it right now.
yeah. So when it comes to all the other fun stuff, like the seller financing and whatnot, oh, actually, there's what I was looking for. Okay, so all the calculators.
You skipping ahead to the calculators?
Oh yeah, well,
Okay,
just
go ahead.
are you going to touch on those? Because I do
Oh
have
yeah,
a few
I was
questions.
going to
on
do a
those guys.
seller one, then I was going to go to calculator.
Perfect.
Then I'm going to sneak out the door when you're all not looking.
All right.
So we're going to go to the seller side. That's the next one over from buyer. Logical right across the board, right? If you want, we can stay with conventional. Everybody okay with that? Mm-hmm. Since it's actually better than FHA. Who doesn't like that, right? And we'll keep it around that 250 marker again. Broker fee, well, I'll be honest with you, you think I'm kidding right now. I know guys that are raising their prices because of the iBuyer stuff. If you look at the average commission the iBuyers are charging, it's over 8%.
oh,
So what you could say, and honestly do, is say, I'm going to do it for 7, but I'm going to add something back in that they're not doing. And you can start doing drone videos, you can start, I mean, there's a lot more you can add to your...
Jaden.
Yeah. We have a young man that just graduated with my son, and he does drone videos, he does interior footage. I mean, this young man, he's probably going to do really well for himself, and he's making quite a name. So I've been feeding him a lot of business, and what's a drone video cost? Let me ask you.
My people, they'll do the, well, it depends on which people.
Anyway.
My guy moved, but he'll do twilight, drone, and normal photography for, depends on the property, but anywhere from $300 to $400.
This kid's doing it for $250, music and everything. I mean, he's young, he's motivated, his parents have, helped him kind of get going. So, like I said, it's a great deal for us, it's a great deal for him, and he's done fabulous work.
wow.
The music and everything, he just,
Very cool.
yeah. But it's okay to charge more. Believe it or not, everybody else is doing it. Why shouldn't you guys?
Well, I never thought of like charging, the higher rate and in return be able to do this and
The
this.
stats just came out. Your average person is paying a total of about 15%. Whereas if they use us, they're paying anywhere from 9 to 10 usually.
Yeah, even less, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because so many people are discounting.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be discounting in this market. I'd be raising my price.
Yeah. They just don't call them commissions.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they call them fees. Well, there's a so-and-so fee. If you've never seen what these companies do, if you own a house, call them up and ask them for a bid. And when you see that thing come in and you start reading all the fees, after you get up from your stroke and you get out of the hospital, you'll see that we're doing these folks a fabulous service. Yeah, never be ashamed of your 6%.
This might be a silly question, and forgive me, but I have to ask it. You know, people always kind of struggle with the VA loans too, because they're never really sure. Everybody kind of, the buyer is thinking, oh, I have to, no, yeah, that I have, no, the
I don't
seller,
have to pay anything,
seller,
and the seller has to pay
I
everything.
have to pay
Yeah, that's
for
not true.
everything. And it's
So
like,
show
no,
them right
that's
here.
not true. Okay.
Show them right here. We can do a VA if you'd
Oh,
like.
the
Let's do a
comparison
VA.
on the other one, yeah, that too.
Let's do a VA at 6%. And we'll just leave everything dry and just see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
And let's see.
So net at close, 231,
Yeah, that's a seller.
and that's with what? Regular
And so that's the
conventional?
sale price at $250,
That's-
so that means then you're saying, like.
They'll net 231,
Okay,
yeah.
all
And
right.
that's a basic conventional buyer, right?
That's
close
not
enough.
conventional. That we did the VA.
Okay, so that's VA?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So 231, 034.
Yeah, see the VA over there on the left?
Yeah, and the closing concept.
Yeah, and here's what it would be if it was conventional. And we could do the split screen too if you'd like. But either way, so how much more difference was there?
Jeez.
Not a whole lot.
That's over $700.
That's it.
$100
That's the
difference.
difference.
That's just it, it's only $700. That's
231
interesting.
as opposed to
1785, 850.
231, 035, and go back again. 231, 815. Yeah, so that's about something. In my opinion, that's somewhat significant a little bit. And
Oh,
it's not
that's what I
tiny.
was
So-
thinking.
but it's not huge, but it's not tiny.
did you
if it was
take,
$200
did
or
you take a
$300,
beating though?
Not hugely, no.
So what you can do is this. Respond with the difference. In other words, I know I'm going to pay X in fees, so I'll just add that back in my, we're going to accept your offer, but for $800, $900 more. That way your client doesn't feel like they're getting shafted, and everybody's win-win. It's no different than adding back anything else in the deal.
Yeah. You're probably gonna buy it.
Refrigerators or...
You're probably gonna pay for a home
And
warranty
you
or
don't
something
even
anyway.
have to
Yeah.
discuss that with the other end, as long as it's a discussion you're having with your client, and you're good to go. You don't have to say we're raising the
With a
price.
warranty, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
That is about the price of a good warranty.
yes, $700.
Yeah. We're not gonna pay for your warranty, but we'll take everything else, send it over, let's sign it up.
And you can feel good for working with the VA, right?
But it just shows you though, now we just dispelled a huge myth of what? Oh my God, I'm gonna get screwed if I use, no,
Well, it's a
you're not.
sad state of affairs when it turns into that wonderful benefit that a military person is supposed to have turns into a penalty. It's bad, you know.
And that's why if you've got a good agent and you write that
And you've done
escalator
your-
clause
yeah.
in there and you do the homework, you can even submit that file to them and then submit the screenshots of this and go, please share this with your client, because if they think they're gonna lose money by taking the VA deal as opposed to a conventional deal, here's the difference.
Okay, so you alluded earlier, you were saying that your friend, actually, bought like a FISBO.
Mm-hmm.
And, so, knowing that the seller thinks that they're saving money and stuff,
Mhm.
which is interesting.
They did save 3%.
All right, well, how did you best help then your buyer, because don't they you still want to encourage them to do the inspection,
Oh,
they have the appraisal.
everything's good.
Everything's usually the same as usual, you just are negotiating directly with the buyer instead of agent to agent.
That's right.
Were they
Okay.
cool working with your title company?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we even gave them worksheets and we helped everybody with
Okay.
product like this the whole way through. We want everybody to feel comfortable. Do I go out in the street and go, hey, bring me your FISBO? No. I want to work with you guys. I want to have relationships with you guys. But sometimes FISBOs happen.
Well, but this could be a good way with the FISBOs to
Right.
go to the owner to say, so I'm just curious
Yeah.
why why you want
Well,
to do for sale by owner.
When it comes to marketing and door knocking and
Yeah.
different things like that, like for example, if you take what we have with Monsoon, Add-in, Cole, blah
Yeah.
blah blah,
Yeah.
and we got all the information, right? We know approximately when they bought the house, we could determine approximately how much they owe. You could literally walk in with a net sheet and you could basically say, right now, this is what we could probably get you, boom. And they're like, well, if we sell with ourselves, oh yeah, well, if you sell yourself, and what is the difference between a realtor and not?
Yeah.
It's still like 3 or 4% difference minimum?
100%.
Yeah, and so we more than pay for the commission that they would have paid. And you could literally give them 2 net sheets for the difference. Be like, this is what I can get you.
Okay, all right,
And heck yeah.
And most of the time they sell for less, not for more.
okay.
They think they're
Exactly.
getting you guys,
Yeah.
and they end up getting themselves.
Yeah,
But
between
it's
record
cool.
prices
Yeah.
and whatnot, there's never been a better time to actually give a net sheet to somebody.
And we're a big proponent of that. That's
Alright.
why we're in this sphere,
But
area.
this is where I love being able to do my homework and say,
Yeah.
all right.
Did you
I
know
have
that your
one.
neighbor up the street sold in 3 days for $4,000 over asking price? And by the way, that means this for you.
I mean, everybody's in RPR, everybody's using the absorption rate, and if you're not talking about absorption rate when you're trying to get a listing, I feel bad for you, because I know agents that are using it every day, and that's probably why you didn't get that listing. If you don't know that this house is gonna be on the market 45 days before I give you a contract, and if by day 60 it's still on the market, we're chasing the product downstream, you're done.
Yeah,
You've done that client a disservice.
all right, well,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. So, to the calculators.
This is fun. Like until you sit down for an hour and actually see what's available,
Yep.
it's incredible. Wow. Yeah.
Okay,
So monthly affordability, some of these in the free version are not available. This what keeps the rest of the cops from coming to arrest me. I can give you some of the tool, most of the tool, just can't give you all the tool. So I can buy you dinner and just can't take you to dessert, I guess, for lack of a better description, right?
You don't get the chair.
I don't get the treat. No sprinkles for you. So monthly affordability, I don't know, it's been a while, my apologies. I don't know which one of these are live and what aren't, but I have the full version because I'm an employee and they better give it to me. Monthly affordability is really cool. If you did a conventional loan, upper left-hand corner, again, FHA, VA, USDA, desired payment. What are you comfortable with a month? What's good for you? What do you guys feel good with per month?
1,400.
1,400? All right, I
I
like that.
don't know,
Sounds good.
too much.
I
That's a
like
good
that.
number. Your average rent in Phoenix is $1,500, so you're right on track.
And let's add in
It's
that
cheaper
$90
than the top
HOA,
rent.
and let's see how much home we can get you qualified for. So that puts you in about the $224,000 range.
And then, oh, and you got the slider for the different down payment.
Right? Hmm?
Ooh, that makes a difference.
Yep. That's why, for people who want to buy, but they think it's okay to buy 2 brand new cars at $500 a month payment.
There's
That's
a calculator
too
for
late.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A debt to
stop
income.
it, that's dumb. There you go,
Calculation.
calculate that.
This is how it's screwing you up for the house you want to buy. Yeah,
Well, and
this
it's-
is all you qualify for.
Yeah, well, there's even the debt to income. So it's like, no, your
Really?
monthly payments on your cars and everything, and your credit cards can't exceed this amount. Like
Oh,
there's so many calculators. Like it's
Okay,
amazing.
all right,
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So that's just, again, that's
I'm
just
sure.
one of, the
Oh,
rent,
okay,
the rent versus
I love
buy.
what we do.
yeah.
So what's your current rent? What are you paying now?
I'm 1,500, that's why I want
1,500.
to buy a house.
Okay, you should. And how much house do you think you want to buy?
Well, I wish I could have like a $250,000
Well, let's
home.
see if that works for us. And how much do you think you want to put down?
Well, I'm gonna try the 10%, because you're
You got
looking at
10%?
some
I like the way you
25,
And do you see the little switch out there to the right?
yeah,
This product is super smart. $10, it knows it's not $10. They know it's 10%. But if I put this, see how it switched to,
yeah.
right?
You don't want to pay for the house 25 times over? No.
Exactly, right? So the product is super smart. And we won't get into assumptions, because that's a whole day I could spend on that.
My cost, okay, cool. Oh my gosh, so I would save me like $500.
Cost, here's your net sheet.
Yeah.
Not to mention tax-wise how it
And
would help.
appreciation, what your
Yeah.
net worth will be at the end of that time too.
Mm-hmm. How much money you made?
Yeah.
Sure, who'd like to know that, right?
Okay.
Here's your payment. How about how much equity you'll have?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So here's the neat part about that. People go, well, what's in it for me? I'm buying a home, but what's it really going to do for me? Well, in 2 years and 4 months, you're going to have $55,000 in equity. Tell me where you've made $55,000 in the last 2 years. I'll invest with you. And instead you're investing in yourself and your family. How is that a bad thing?
But you're helping them come to a wise decision.
Absolutely,
so-
that's your job, to inform the client. The rest of it is up to them.
All right, cool.
Can I say something?
Yes,
There's a lot of
please.
people that have the belief that, the market is gonna crash anytime. So how do
You need
you,
to send her that.
how do you
So let's-
explain to them? It's like, I have tried so many ways, but I'm not well.
So we're
Versed in that.
typically a 10-year market. Right now, we're in year 12. What's gonna happen? Who knows? Do you watch Barry Habib at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
at least his predictions are that it's actually gonna go down, that the rate is even gonna go down more.
Yep. That's why I'm
His
floating right
and
now.
his predictions have been. I mean, he's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's Jesus Christ, him, and then pretty much everybody else as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He's fabulous. And I mean, believe me.
Yeah.
Where's my cross?
If you have, it's MBS Global, MBS, what's this
Yeah.
company, MBS
You
Global?
can go to
It's
National Real Estate Post, or what's called, you watch them every
every
day?
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I religiously watch them every day. And you can watch them too if you like, it's free.
Yeah.
My best F word I'm allowed to use at work, free. And they usually don't like us to use the word free in my business.
Oh,
They call it the F word for a reason.
But
Free.
what is it? So share with Teresa.
The National Real Estate Post.
Yeah, National Real Estate Post, and if we have your card, I'll forward. I have a bunch of them saved. I'll forward one to you.
Yeah, there's more information in there. I watch them every morning. I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I sit, I watch them, and I have a little something to eat, and then I go off to work.
Yeah, Kevin Gramp, one of our lending partner guys.
And you can share it with your clients too.
Yeah.
It's not private, it's public.
Yeah, but Kevin, one of our lending partners, he actually is one of his prime members of his thing.
Oh, MBS Highway?
So Highway, thank
Yeah.
you, that's what it is. And he sends out blasts and keeps us updated on stuff too,
Yep.
from his inside stuff too. And I mean, that's opened my world. I thought, I was just a fan from National Real Estate Post, but when he started sending me the real stuff, oh my gosh, man.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, they're already like 5 years in advance, and we're just on their path still. You know what I mean?
What I think was amazing is when we're in the middle of a recession, the government's saying there's a 50% chance that we could go into a recession.
Like when?
Are you mental? We're in one right now. So to listen to them guys as opposed to listening to the people that we should be hoping that would be steering us the right way, never ceases to amaze me. But
Fear mongers.
yeah, I'm not in the business of that, but I can tell you this: I'm liquid and ready to go. My guess it'll be 9 months. So I watch the outlying areas just like he does.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a great way. But to try and convince someone to buy a house, it's very hard.
it took my own son 2 years, a veteran. They finally did like.
Yeah, what
a year and a
you
half.
have no skin in the game. Come on, 2 years, really? So, do you like working with veterans?
Yes,
Okay, so here's my advice to you. Are you a Weimar member?
yes,
Okay, so call up Jennifer Vargas or somebody over at Weimar and see when the next Jimmy Versalino class is on military certification. Go get military certified. Yep, go get military certified. It's fabulous. It's a great class. It's a designation that you can, it's an easy designation to get.
It may not have a.
It has a little
battery on it.
plastic piece in the front.
Oh, okay, let me see
Yeah,
this.
they're brand new pens,
There you
probably.
go. There you
I
go.
need to
That works.
focus. Okay.
Yeah. So that military designation is a great way to start getting designations, Because once you get one, you kind of get addicted. Next thing you know, GRI. If I was a realtor, I would absolutely, the first designation I would get would probably be the GRI, but I'd be doing it with a military background as well. Because I come from a military family, I speak the language already. It makes sense.
And who did you say her name was?
Jennifer Vargas. Yes, she runs the school side for Weimar over there for education, and she'll be able to tell you when the next class is and what it's the best couple of bucks you're ever going to spend to get a designation.
They're really cheap, only like $5, $10.
Yeah. And if you're a member, most of the time they're free, but I don't know what the designation will
Yeah,
cost.
the GRI designation is like $350 or $500. It's
Yeah.
not cheap, but it's not
schools,
terrible.
yeah.
But to be a graduate of Realtor Institute says one thing. It's almost like saying, I got my license, but I wanted more information. I wanted to be better than average. I wanted to know more about our industry. And that's why they have that designation. Not to mention, it kind of links you with all the other GRIs in the nation. So you don't always have to work with a big name brand firm, but as long as you're GRI, you can share throughout the US.
Thank you.
Yep. Did we do the net sheet? So this one's great. I love, this is a great, if I was an agent, this would be my closing tool. If I walked in and, let's say we have a VA, we're gonna sell your son's home, he's gonna move up.
Okay.
You ready?
Do it.
Okay, so you gotta convince him now to sell that house and get a bigger one, right?
He's got a 4-bedroom and he rents 3 rooms.
Oh, okay, so now he
He's
wants
going
to,
back to
he's gonna
ASU.
expand his to 5 bedrooms. So,
He loves it.
we're gonna say, what's it gonna take to make you move? You're gonna give me a price, how much? Tell me.
I want to save at least 500 a month on my payment.
No, how much do you want to sell your house for?
Oh,
What's it gonna take to make you list your house with me right now?
Bring me $325.
I'd like a net 50 grand.
Okay, so you want a net 50 grand. And how much do you owe?
158.
And, ready?
But that's not what I paid for it.
Oh, we don't care about that. That's what we're gonna have to sell your house for, 226.
I don't know.
It's pretty awesome. No,
No?
you don't seem happy about that. Do you owe more than that?
Oh, I bought it for more than that.
That's not good.
Well,
Refi.
No.
fortunately, this doesn't say where the market is. That number
That
may or may not
timing,
actually
yeah.
line up with comps.
Right.
So, hopefully we'll be able to say, hey,
What type of
we should
loans
go
on
get
it? What type of
270.
loans on it? Let me ask you that.
It was an arm.
Is it conventional?
Uh-huh.
So why not sell or carry that thing and move into a different property?
Why not what?
Sell or carry that property. You act as the bank. And then you go into a different home. Pretty easy, and we do those too, by the way. A lot of people ask, we'll wrap or sell or carry anything except FHA. You cannot do that. That's the law. And there was one person here locally that was doing it, and she is no longer in the business.
Very costly.
Yes.
So, a stupid question that's not actually on topic.
No stupid ones tonight.
So,
The one that's
They're
not-
all just questions.
lawyer's title.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a good thing?
What do you mean?
In general, like, where did lawyer's title, like, get their start, and why would lawyer's title just on the surface be a good thing?
Okay, so they're part of my company.
Yeah, and I assumed that it started off with some lawyers, like in New York,
Oh.
where they had to or something, and that was where they came about.
I
But,
actually
like,
used
why-
to work for lawyers.
Yeah, but, like, you know what I'm asking?
It
like,
was just a name.
but why?
I don't know, I can't tell you. Why did McDonald's say McDonald's, you know?
Yeah, it's, lawyer's title is just weird. Like,
How did
and
Sonic get to be Sonic? I have no clue.
it just seems like they set themselves up for more questions, you know, because not many people like to work with a lawyer, for example.
And
you
we're not
know.
a lawyer closing state.
Yeah.
Right,
Well-
like they are back east, a lot of back east companies.
And
are lawyer
ironically,
closing
that's the
state.
only company that I personally have had repeated bad experiences with, but it was one office in particular. Not
Yep.
gonna go into that. Yeah.
And my business is just like yours.
Yeah.
I could say, oh boy, so-and-so real estate company really screwed me over. Well, was it really that real estate company, or was it the agent who didn't do me a correct service?
Yeah.
It's so one bad apple spoils it for the bunch, you know how that works. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. We all just try and put our best foot out there, help each other, and play nice in the sandbox.
I would have thought like happy people title, you know, that would have given.
Yeah. I was going to open "I'm better than you" title, and they said no, that was not very
My
nice.
ugly titles.
That's right. I said, I am better than you, so I thought that would be appropriate.
All right, this
So-
is wonderful.
So a lot of people ask you, hey, what if I made an extra payment so I could pay that balance down sooner and make the equity show up in that property that might be a little upside down in? I got you. Good thing you asked me that. So, what do you owe on that thing?
158.
158. And I don't know what you put down.
Pardon?
I don't know what you put down. Let's just say 3.5. It doesn't matter. We'll work it. So, and if you put an extra $100 a month in, $6 years and 3 months sooner, just with an extra $100 in every month's payment.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
That's sweet. It's,
And
and,
that's
it,
when
and,
you
it,
follow
and, it,
up
and
to
it surely
Google
beats
how
the
to do that,
Texas
so.
Instrument
Oh,
calculator they make us buy for the test.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
you buy for the test and you never use again in your life.
Yeah, why? Who would want that?
It's awful.
It's
This
terrible.
is very user-friendly.
Yeah, and that's why we did this. Well, you guys have enough going on. Why do you need to add that level of stress too?
No,
I come with a good.
And Josh asks a lot of math questions really fast when he's training, and we whip out our calculators real fast because calculators we can do. This is just ideal for.
This is fast. If you're in the street and you want to know, I can tell you this. And I didn't get to show you that part, and I want to back up so I can show you this because you're going to have this situation. This will happen. It's a matter of time. If you're an agent that does listings, if you're a listing agent, the client's going to say, hey, look, I'm not listing my house with you unless I can make 100 grand. Got it? You're going to say, whoa.
all right, let's see what it
So that's where you go. So let me be clear. If I can show you 100 grand equity in your house, you're going to list with me right now, right? Yes, great. You get out your forms and you come over here and you go, I got to make you $100,000. Well, if you owe $250 on your house, we got to sell that house for $378.
No less than that.
Good thing your house is going to list for $400 if you list with me today. And since you already said I got to make you 100 grand, I'm going to do more than that. Here's where you need to see.
That was
Okay.
that is how you get
That is sweet.
a lot
This
of
is
Buckeye.
the closing tool.
That was literally how I got Buckeye. Is that she needed to net no less than $18,000. She needed to take home no less than that in order for her to be able to do what she needs to do. And I knew exactly that's literally it.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is so many agents call me and go, I got another listing because of your awesome device, and I go, it's cool.
Yeah. Now, my question was on the qualify side. So that was basically, and it kind of alluded to her ratios. Don't go out and buy something stupid, you know, to throw your stuff off. Okay, so if I'm using this properly, okay, let's just make these round numbers. We make $10,000 a month. Okay, so it says annual gross income. Okay, so that would be 120 or whatever.
Yeah, about
right?
100.
So let's say $100,000 a year. Let's just make that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, based on let's just throw like 4 things out there because it's really cool.
I like to add up what the total is as opposed to line iteming them all up.
You could go either way. There you go. So let's.
What's your
And
total
you can actually
debt?
break down. They have a list of cars, credit cards, spousal support. They got all kinds of stuff in there if you really want to label it. But let's say their average, it boils down to, let's say, $1,200, $2,000, let's say $2,600 a month. Something like that, yeah. Okay, so then it'll break it down.
Look at that.
So help me out. What am I looking at here?
How much you qualify for a month in payment.
So based off of that, the conventional, so where did they get that from? I guess that's where...
So you click, see the arrow to the right? You're going to
Yeah.
click that. It's going to give you the breakdown.
3.99 desired payment over housing.
Well, the desired payment is what the payment you can afford based on your debt.
Yeah,
So-
that $1,000 a month car payment really kind of screws you.
Right. If you go in and change that up, and let's say you pay, do you have some money? Okay, let's pay that car off and get you down to $2,000 a month on your $100,000 a year income. Now, how much house do you qualify for?
Oh, I see. Okay.
And
So
this
a lot
doesn't
of
include
people-
your mortgage payment, obviously, because that's what we're calculating. So,
And that's everything. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, your fees, my fees, everybody inclusive, lender fees as well.
yeah, because it was startling on this level, because you would think it would be $100,000 a year, you should be able to afford everything, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And that's where that VA part comes in. It looks even sexier.
Oh, geez.
Look.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Woo woo. Go, go.
So it just depends on how you want to slice that bread.
That's very true.
Yeah. And the ratios does break down the percentages that they look for.
And so
but-
it's neat because then if you think that, you know, your payment is $1,000 a month, that tells you your home is like $198,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could put somebody in a box real quick.
Yeah.
You could be a millionaire but still have no money.
Right. And that's not uncommon, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because most people, no matter how much they make, they live without outside of their means.
One of my best friends, he is a car junkie, and he like
Thanks.
his baby is a Nissan GTR, and he's got like 6 cars between him and his wife, but that's what he loves, and he knows he'll never buy a house as long as that's what he wants to do.
So and he had done it the opposite way, like I did, buy a bunch of investment properties. Then you could buy
To
all the
pay for your
cars you
car. That Robert Kiyosaki, you want a Porsche? Let's buy property and bring in the money to pay for that Porsche. Boom.
And so many people don't realize right now, especially if you're not self-directing IRAs or 401ks, a lot of people have dead 401ks that are laying around. They got $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 and they don't know what the hell they're doing with it or anything.
Yeah.
I would be taking 20% of that and buying real property as an investment that cash flows. Putting it into property management, which you guys do,
Absolutely.
and moving on to the next property. And guess what? You can even leverage that one after time. And RDPD, pitch to import at.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. This is cool. So we need to download the app.
Download
And
the app.
it's Security Agent Pro.
.com.
Yeah, and I don't know if I actually, because I have.
And if you need a trid wheel, not that anybody even asks me anymore, but if you do, it's down at the bottom. We have a trid wheel.
This is what mine has, and it does. Am I still under the premium? It doesn't look like it.
Nope.
So that means like, yeah, you still get it.
Oh, there you go. Good for you.
If it gives you what
Um,
you need,
See,
absolutely.
change things around so much
Try
anymore.
to go back.
Yeah.
Not even try. The trid wheel is still available if somebody needs a trid wheel. The timeline, it's there. There's your trid wheel. Kinda cool.
So, in a perfect world, then, if
I'm rich, tall, thin, and good looking.
exactly.
That's not true. Perfect world, right?
So right now, when it comes to like closing times, and I get this on a regular basis. So for you guys, right? If we were gonna choose a closing date, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, obviously not the first day of the month, not the last day of the month. You know,
If it's not the first day, if it's not the first and the last day of the month, we're happy. A lot of people still try and close on the last day of the month to save the per diems and all the rest of that, which is good. But to be honest with you, if you want to sneak clients through, get them in a week, like Monday before the end of the month. If Friday's the end of the month, get them
And that's
done
what
on
we
Monday.
did.
Do you like Mondays?
Well, we like any day that's not the last day of the month, or the first day of the month.
That's why I pretty much like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday, because then I have that extra day or so to kind of work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right,
And that's really, and that's just not smart for you guys, that's smart for everybody.
all right. Now, for somebody who's not techno savvy,
I
Do I
sit
need
and do
to do it?
one-on-one training.